get out of your way so you can actually see. So 9 plus 4t is greater than 21. We're doing 3.4, solving multi-step inequalities. Okay. So what would the first step you do here, Austin?
Combined 9 and 4.
So why can you not combine those? Answer the same question because I know you know.
You can't combine them because 4 has a variable.
Yeah. So we cover up the variable part, get rid of the 9. How do we get rid of positive 9?
Subtract 9.
Perfect. So Austin just suffered through what I love for students to suffer through, which is when you get it wrong, and then I give him a little hint, and then he gets it right, and that should reinforce the correct method, which is exactly what we want to do. So we have 4t is greater than 12. What do I do next? How about Zasha?
So you divide 4 from both sides?
Yes. Divide 4, and we get t is greater than 3. Done. As I just boxed that answer, we do have one teacher in the math department that will take points off if you don't box your answer. I'm not psychotic. Well, not totally psychotic, but you can just box your answers, indicate, leave them just. The only time it becomes a problem is when you guys start writing stuff all over the place and we can't tell what the heck's going on. So as long as you stay organized, no problem. Okay, write this one down. And thank you, almost everybody, for having their cameras on. It makes it good because I can tell what's going on. How about Anna? What would your first step be?
Oh, sorry. My first step would be add 7.
Plus 7, plus 7. So we have negative 6a less than or equal to 24. And how about Anna McFadden for the next step?
You would divide negative 6 on both sides.
And when you divide by negative, what do you have to do, Anna?
Switch it.
Good. So it goes from less than to greater than, right? Just remember to flip because we divided by a negative number. When you multiply or divide by a negative, flip the inequality. So you get a is greater than or equal to negative 4. So if we were to check the solutions, if we plug in negative 4 for this a right here, then we get negative 6 times negative 4, which is 24. 24 minus 17 is 17. So you'll get the exact same number on both sides. That tells you you did it correctly. Write this one down. And so today we're going to start a new thing. We're going to have everybody stay in the Google Meet until your homework's done. Once your homework's done and you submitted it, then you're more than welcome to peace out. Today we're doing 3.4. Tomorrow we spend one more day on 3.4 and you'll have a lesson quiz, so you know. Okay, what would the first step be here? How about Anastasia?
You're going to add 5.
So is this 5 positive or negative?
It's positive.
So you're going to do the opposite of that.
Oh, subtract 5.
Yeah, very good. So subtract 5 from both sides. It's like a very common mistake. You just see right there and you're like, oh yeah, just add 5 to both sides, and you make a little mistake and then it goes wrong and it's a sad day. So you can always, at the very beginning here, rewrite it so the variable's on the left. That's totally fine. Shay, you got a question?
Yeah, so like instead of doing like +4 on both sides, why wouldn't you do, or I mean like, so doing like negative or -5 on both sides, why would you not do +4
So
on both
if we
sides?
add 4 to both sides, then we have nothing left over here. And that tends to confuse people. So
Oh, okay.
I'll show you that step just so you can still get to the correct answer. You just got to be careful. I'll show you how to do that the way you suggested, and then you can see you can do it that way. It's no big deal.
Okay.
To finish this side, we're going to divide by -3. So negative divided by a negative is a positive. So you get +3. We have to flip the inequality because we divided by a negative. And we have n over here. So n is less than 3. I like writing it with the variable on the left. And then we'll do what Shay was talking about, because students will do that and then sometimes they get confused as a result. So let's just see what happens. So Shay wanted to add 4 as the first step. Totally fine. But then you have a 0. So what you have to remember is when it cancels on one side to write a 0. So 9 minus 3n. Then I could add 3n to both sides to get the variable on the left and make it positive. So 3n is less than 9, and then divide by 3. And we end up with the same answer, n is less than 3. So you can do it either way. It's totally fine. The thing people forget, as I said, was to put that 0 in. Okay, write this one down. Yeah, there's something I want to talk about with this problem. First thing I'm going to do, if I were doing this homework, I would always switch the variable to the left side. And then I think the pointy part points to the 0.8, so I want to make sure the pointy part still points to the 0.8. And then what would you do first, Charlotte?
Subtract 30 for both
Minus
sides.
30, excellent. Next, you're going to answer this in the chat. So get ready to answer in the chat. What is the next step? How about Shannon?
You're going to divide by 0.8.
So we're going to divide by 0.8 on both sides. So here's the question I want you guys to answer in the chat. When you divide by a decimal, does the number get bigger or smaller? Those are your choices, bigger or smaller. When you divide by a decimal, does it get bigger or smaller? Did I already talk about that in this class? Give me a yes or no if I already talked about that. Somebody's, oh no, I didn't talk about it. Okay, good, good. So you're correct, it is bigger. Okay, so if we do 20 divided by 0.8, anybody know what 0.8 is as a decimal? Or not, it is a decimal, I'm smart. As a fraction is what I meant to say. What is 0.8 as a fraction? Oh, that's not a hard question, you can do it. 4 over 5, 8 over 10. Could be 80 over 10 or 80 over 100. 8 over 10, 4 over 5. So if I think about this, 20 divided by 4/5. So if you divide a whole number by a fraction, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So here we'd have 20 times 5 over 4, which would be 100 divided by 4, which is 25. So it went from 20 to 25 when we divided by a decimal. So x is less than 25. So here's a challenge question for you. And don't use your phones or your calculators, as I just saw Volpe pick up her phone. I know she wasn't going to cheat using it, but what is, you're going to answer, well, we're going to wait a sec. So I'll give you like 10 seconds to think of this answer and then answer in your chat. Okay? So let's say, what is 8 divided by 1/2? Don't write the answer yet. Think 8 divided by 1/2. Now put it in the chat. 8 divided by 1/2. Nobody's right so far. We have a couple correct answers. They're different, so I'm not saying who's correct. We've got a 12, a 4, and a 16 so far. 16, 12, 16. The 16s win, right? So 8 divided by 1/2. We should talk about that real quick. It's the same thing as 8 times 2 over 1, which is 16, okay? So it's my contention that every single one of you can do that in your head, right? 4 divided by 1/2, all you got to do is double it. 4 divided by, how about this? What's 4 divided by 1/3? Put it in the chat. 4 divided by 1/3. Good, so you're getting the hang of it for the most part. 4 divided by 1/3, what's 4 times 3? 12. So just think about that because it'll make it easier. And Austin was just like, oh my God, did you get it wrong? That's why I like to see those reactions. Yeah, whoops. You're just thinking 8, yeah. Okay, so next one. Story problem fun. We're in a community garden. You want a fence in a vegetable garden that is adjacent to your friends. So the right side is your garden. Notice that the fences are doubled up here in the middle. This right here in the middle says 12 feet, if you can't read it. So we want to fence this garden. You can see the fence is like kind of done right here. You have at most 42 feet of fence. So shaking your heads, yes or no, can we have 43 feet of fence? No, right? So at most, that means it's got to be less than or equal to 42. So at most means less than or equal to. Okay, at least means greater than or equal to. At most means less than or equal to. Look at that, we got to see Jackson for a brief second. Excellent. Okay, so if we have 12 feet on this left side, we also have 12 feet on the right side. We do not know the lengths. Those are just L's. I like to write the L's like cursive. So we have all the pieces to write this equation. Is there anybody brave enough to write the equation? Give me a shot. Tell me what it is out loud. First, most important question is, how do you get perimeter? You can answer that in the chat. How do you get perimeter? You know how to get perimeter. Answer in the chat. I see some people typing, it looks like. Perimeter equals 2h. We're going to have 2 of those, but 2 of something else as well. So if I just have a regular old square and I want to know the perimeter, what's a perimeter? Say it out loud or write it in the chat. 8, right? So what did you do, Jackson, to the sides? He's typing add, I bet.
I added all the sides.
Added them all up. It's close, Anna, but still not quite right. You'll see once we write the equation. So equation for perimeter, I could just add width plus length, but I'm too lazy to write that many variables. So we're going to have 2 W's, so 2 widths plus 2 lengths. That's perimeter, okay? Like I said, you could have W plus L plus L, totally fine. So here, our perimeter, I'm actually going to write it this way so the variable is on the correct side. So we know the width is 12. We don't know the length. And we do know the perimeter is 42, and it's at most 42. So it has to be less than or equal to 42. So how about Ashley? What's the first step?
You multiply 2 by 12.
Good. So we get 24 plus 2 lengths, less than or equal to 42. What's the next step, Ashley?
Subtract 24.
On fire. Good job. Minus 24. Do you know what 42 minus 24 is in your head? I'll give you a hint. It's 18. What's the last step, Ashley?
You divide it by 2.
Divide that 2 out. We get the length has to be less than or equal to 9. So length could be 9 because that's equal to 876,543. Could the length be -1? No. Length cannot be a negative, right? Because distance can't be negative. Even if I'm walking backwards out of the screen, right? So I'm walking backwards, I'm still walking a positive distance, cannot walk a negative distance. Okay? We're not doing that one. Okay, write this one down. So we have 3 times the quantity, t plus 1, minus 4t greater than or equal to -5. So a couple different methods you could use to solve. I'm going to talk first about the way I would never do this problem. So if we plug in the 8 here and here, then we can see if we get a true statement. Is whatever we get on the left bigger than -5 or equal to -5? That works. Then we'd have to plug in -9 here and here. That's just a pain in the neck, right? We'd have to do 4 separate problems to get the correct answer. In my mind, a heck of a lot easier if we just solve this for t first. So let's do that. So we have 3t plus 3 minus 4t is greater than or equal to -5. Let's go with how about Santi? What's the next step?
You subtract 4
What am I doing?
and then subtract 5. What? Oh.
See what I just did? What's that called, Santi? Somebody help him out. What's that called? He's frantically writing.
What? I can't hear you.
What's it called? Oh, is your house too loud?
Yeah.
What's it called, Ari?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms, right? 3t minus 4t, -1t, plus 3, greater than or equal to -5. What is the next step, Lauren?
Sorry.
That's all good.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you might subtract 3
Minus
from both
3
sides.
from both sides. Excellent. So we get -1t is greater than or equal to -8. When we divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality. So it goes from greater to less. So the most powerful memory strategy is organized use of color. Unfortunately, with this black background, I can't really use color like I normally do in the classroom because I'll switch up every step with a different color so it pops out better. So if you want to write flip or highlight it in a different color so you remember to flip it, that's always a good thing. Ari, did you have a question? Or is that from before?
Yeah. How come it's negative 1t instead of negative t?
Same thing.
Okay, but then, because when you get to the end, do you still just divide by negative t?
So if you had, at this step, you had a negative and a t, like that,
Yeah.
you would still have to divide by -1, because that 1 right here is kind of implied. It's not always there. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So that's why you got to divide by the -1. Because if you divide by negative t, the variable goes away. You just have 1 over here instead of t.
Okay.
That's why you can't do that. Excellent. Good question. I'm going to rewrite this thing right away so the variable's on the correct side. I do that to try to encourage you to do the same. And then I'm flipping my inequality because I'm switching sides. Again, the pointy part points to the 15, pointy part points to the 15. You could think alligator eats a variable, whichever way works for your brain. What do I distribute here? Anyone? What do I distribute?
5 minus 2, which is 3.
Nope, that's you cannot do.
Negative
You just
2.
did 2 or -2.
-2, good. So you got to take this whole thing right here, that -2, and distribute it into the parenthesis, right? So this 5 stays out in front. -2 times 4 is -8m. -2 times 7 is -14, greater than or equal to 15. What should I do now? How about Maddie?
You can combine the like terms.
Good. So 5 minus 14 is -9. -9 minus 8m, greater than or equal to 15. What would you do next, Shannon?
Add 9.
Add 9 to both sides. Excellent. Last step, Elise.
Divide by -8.
And what do you have to do?
Flip the inequality.
Good. Don't forget to flip the inequality when you multiply or divide by a negative. Looks like everyone's done writing that. Okay, so now solving an inequality with variables on both sides. You have 6n minus 1 is greater than 3n plus 8. Oh, why I'm thinking of it, so you guys know, I wanted to give you as much warning as I could. Progress reports, so the first time teachers send grades home is this Friday. So if you have a ton of missings in the other classes or mine, just make sure you get them in so your grades can look good when they get sent to your parents. Okay. When you have variables on both sides, I always like getting rid of the smallest variable first. We're going to do that by subtracting 3n from both sides. So we get 3n minus 1 is greater than 8. cover up the variable, get rid of the -1 by adding it to both sides. So we have 3n is greater than 9. And then last step, divide by 3. We get n is greater than 3. Just a reminder on the graphing, open dot, arrow to the right. You don't have to graph this, but just so you can see it. So get that down, and then, so our first step in this problem was to subtract 3n. What else could have been the first step in solving the inequality? Somebody tell me another potential first step.
Adding 1 first.
Adding 1, good. How about another one? So we could have added 1 or subtracted 3n.
Subtracted 8.
Subtracted 8, or last one?
Subtracted 6n.
Subtract 6n, right? So we have 4 potential first steps here. I just think the problem's easier if you get rid of the smallest variable first. That's why I do it that way. If you want to do it a different way, doesn't matter. That works. So 4 potential first steps right there. We're not going to do that one. Let's do this one. Okay, it says inequalities with special solutions. So there's 2 potential special solutions. Actually, let's just say solutions, not potential or special. So you can have one answer. Example would be like x equals 2. One solution, okay? Then we could have no solution, but I always like to say no sol. So no sol example would be like 0 equals 2. So you can see we've already gone over this like 4 or 5 times in class, so that's your indication that it's important. And then 3, we have infinite solutions, and that one's going to be like 2 equals 2. Okay, so with infinite solutions in inequalities, it could also be 2 is less than or equal to 2. It could be 2 is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so for no solutions in inequalities, it could also be like 5 is less than or equal to -1. So if it makes a false statement, that tells you that it's no sol. These are true statements because 2 does equal 2. So it doesn't matter that it's not also less than, but 2 equals 2, so that's why it's infinite solutions. Okay, so good idea to keep all that stuff straight. And I'm going to go up and copy our problem to a new page. So we have 10 minus 8a greater than or equal to 2 times the quantity 5 minus 4a. What did you do first, Dawson?
Times 2 by 5 and 4a.
Excellent. So we get 10 minus 8a greater than or equal to 10 minus 8a. Does anyone know what the answer is right now? You have the exact same thing on both sides. Infinite. Good, Clevis. Same damn thing, right? So I'm just going to continue to show you steps, because in case you don't realize you have infinite solutions right here, you can keep going in the problem, and hopefully it'll be more clear. So I subtracted 10 from both sides, which got rid of the 10s. And then if I add 8a to both sides, you get is 0, I don't know why I wrote a, is 0 greater than or equal to 0. Because it's equal to 0, that's why it's infinite solutions. Right? We could say all real numbers, you draw that double stick, and then you start your R off the back stick and draw the little middle part of the R off the front. This means all real numbers. Okay? So that one was infinite. Shockingly, I bet our next one will be no solution, but who knows? Could be one solution. So let's do this one. 6m minus 5 greater than 7m plus 7 minus m. Okay, so first thing I do is combine like terms here. So we get 6m minus 5 greater than 6m plus 7. What would you do next? How about Cole?
Add 5 to both sides.
Okay, add 5, add 5. Raise your hand if you had a different first step right there, or a different next step, I should say. Zasha, what were you going to do?
I was going to divide 6m from both sides.
Subtract?
Yeah, subtract,
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, good. So 6m greater than 6m plus 12. So the point I'm making here, Cole said add 5 to both sides. Doesn't matter. You still get to the correct answer. No big deal. Next step, I would subtract 6m. So is 0 greater than 12? Hell no. That is a false statement, which means this problem has no soul. Any questions on this stuff? So remember, you guys, Mondays, we will always have a short little kind of review assignment. Grades are due this coming Friday, the 18th, so make sure you get in any missings in any class, not just mine. If you're super confused in my class, I know I have 4 or 5 of you in every class that are super confused. Come to access time, please, so I can help you out, right? And we'll figure it out from there. So next side is the homework. Your homework is page, I think it's 190. Make sure it's page 190, 9 through 43 odd. Okay, so we're going to stay in until your homework's submitted. When you leave, tell me your homework's submitted. Say, hey, it's me, Charlotte. My homework's done. I'm out of here. And I'll say, later. Okay, so fire away. Have at it. Get after it. Ask me tons of questions. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here bored. I'm going to do attendance now, just so people don't leave on me. Most of you by now. Okay, Kason's here, Ashley's here, Maddie's here, Charlotte's here. Joey, Coleman, no. Cole was here, Parker's here, Zasha's here, Austin is here, Ari's here, Clevis is here, Shay was here, Anna's here, Lauren's here, Anastasia, Christian was here, Elise was here, Noah Pearson is here, Dawson was here, Rutledge is here, Megan was here, Dominic is here, Anna's here, Zoe, guess, yep, and Jackson. Sweet.